John, how in the world is it you can leave Alabama, go to Michigan, get there, know how long it's going to take you, get there on time for your appointment, and do it time in, time out. Do it every time. Well, the answer to that is trip planning. And that's what I'm going to help y'all out with today. One of the biggest parts of being a truck driver is being able to do good trip planning. I'm going to throw some numbers at you, and these are numbers you're going to want to get burned into your brain because you'll use them every day. You got a trip that's X number of miles. You get it in your brain, and as fast as your truck runs, 55 mile an hour. Say, oh, Big John, my truck governed a 72. I can fly. That may be true, but you may have to run secondary roads. You may run traffic jams. You got to stop for fuel, or stop for this, or stop for that. In the end, rarely will you average over 60 for a day. And that's why I cut it back to 55, just to give yourself a little cushion there. So you say 55 mile an hour. I got 11 hour a day. I can do 605 miles in a day. But if that falls in your 1 day trip window, there you have an idea how when you got to leave to get there when you want to get there. And when you want to get there is, let's say you got a 6 o'clock appointment in the morning. You want your 10-hour break to just be running up about the time of your appointment, because they may put you on door early or whatever. That way, when they get you empty, you shut your doors and you boogie. You're on to your next task. You're not sitting around there 4 or 5 hours waiting on your clock to reset. Another reason for that is a lot of these places have truck parking. They have truck parking when you get there, waiting to deliver. A lot of them, when you're done delivering, they want you gone. So you need to plan for that. Think if you're going to need fuel, if you pull a reefer like I do, you can count on at least one fuel stop. As it inevitably happens, you'll pick up that reefer. There'll be a quarter tank of fuel in it. And somewhere along your trip, you're going to have fuel. Plan out any other stops you're going to make, where you're going to take your 30-minute break. A lot of folks just stop in the middle of the day and they'll do their fueling, their 30-minute break, get them something to eat, all in one sitting. That way they keep on going. Now if your trip's more than 1 day, say your trip's 1,000 miles. The way I usually do that is I measure out somewhere around 600, somewhere between 575 and 625 miles away. And I'll find a truck stop there. or rest area or whatever where I'm gonna park. And I always find a backup because you pull in the first truck stop and it's full. You don't want to be in a pickle. You want to have options. And one of the big things I do, one of the very first things you should do, is determine whether the customer has customer parking. Now I got GPS, I got direction book on how to get to our customers. Anytime I'll get a load to a new place I've never been before, even though I've got directions and everything, I'll still pick up the phone and call them. I'll ask them for the truck directions into their facility. And I ask them if they got overnight parking. And if they don't have overnight parking, sometimes you can ask them, well, what's the closest place to you, like truck stop or somewhere I'm parked. Generally, they know the answer to that. So they get asked it enough. Then after I call them and I get actual handwritten directions to where they are, I'll pick up my phone and I'll look up Google Maps. I'll look up the place. I'll bring it up. I'll bring up the satellite view of it. A lot of times, if you look at that satellite view, you can learn things off that satellite view. Number one, do they have overnight parking? Or what is it? A lot of times, if you'll see their gate and there's a drop lot outside their gate, they have overnight parking. Or if you look at it and it's in an industrial park, look at the sides of the roads. A lot of times in those industrial parks, the roads are real wide. So trucks can park on the curb, waiting to deliver or whatever. If you look, a lot of times you'll look at the satellite picture and you'll see trucks parked there on the curbs. And you just answered one of your key questions. So you got how long it's going to take you, when you ought to leave, whether you can park when you get there. Another way to tell about the place you're delivering is on that same Google Maps thing, there'll be reviews. Everybody knows some truck drivers, they do love to talk. So you give them a chance to talk, like a review, oh, they're going to let her rip. So you look at those reviews and figure out, a lot of times they say, 7-hour wait here, $800 lumber bill. No parking. Well, there you go. And instead of reading just one review, generally what I like to do is read several of the reviews, because you got to take each review with a grain of salt. Some folks just want to complain just to complain. You look at the overall picture in the reviews. What the attitude is about the place. But you figured out if you can park there, you figured out your mileage, how long it's going to take you, and where you're going to fuel. And if you'll just stick to that and keep that left door shut, generally get it pretty close. Now, I use a Garmin GPS and it's got arrival times on it. I can tell you they're pretty accurate. The Google Maps, the arrival time on that, don't pay it no mind. On Google Maps, everything's judged at 70 miles an hour. There's no street lights, stop lights, or nothing. They may take a basic measurement of the mileage and 70 mile an hour, and that's how they come up with their arrival time, and it's always too short. Plus, Google Maps won't give you truck routes. Whatever route they give you may or may not be legal. It's good to use as like a backup reference. Generally what I use it for, but you don't want to use it all the time. And you do, you know, I'm using this example of you know how long it's gonna take as if you're leaving from the house with a loaded trailer. There's different ways to look at it. Okay, you go get that trailer unloaded, and you sit there and you call them, they give you your next load. Now you have different things taking effect. You got, you know, how long you're going to be where you're sitting. How long is it going to take you to get to the other place, and how long is it going to be? Are you going to be sitting there loading? Those are all mysteries. You can't. I like to bank on 2 hours. Most places they handle you in about 2 hours. And wherever you're going, you got to look at your appointment time, how long it's going to take you to get there. So you need to know when to start your clock. You don't want to say you sit on door at 8 o'clock, your appointment time at other places at 2. It's only an hour away.
In 1.25 miles, keep right.
You don't want to take off over there, get there 5 hours before your appointment, and find out that they won't load you early. Well, your clock's ticking. Probably shouldn't have left that early. No instance where you can pick up a phone, call them. A lot of times they'll tell you, oh yeah, come on over here, we'll get you loaded. Or they'll tell you, no, we're running behind, there's no way we can get you loaded early. Different places do different things. I've been on both sides of that fence.
Keep right.
But you run your route through in your head. You figure out, you know, if you got to take any toll roads. You know, if you don't have a easy pass like I do. If you got to actually stop and pay your tolls, which that's getting rarer and rarer. I think COVID took care for good the human toll booth worker. They all want you to do that run through and toll by plate or whatever. But if they come back, you know, if you got tolls on your route, you need to figure out how much money you need for tolls and make sure you have cash on you for it. Nothing sucks than rolling up on a toll booth and not having the money to pay them. Ask me how I know. But like I said, it's all planning, and it'll as you do this a while, it almost becomes second nature. care of yourselves. I'll catch you on the flip side.